Hello everyone. So welcome to this lecture on AI. So this will be the first lecture of the course, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence. So Introduction to AI. In this lecture, we are gonna cover basic definitions of the AI, like what do we mean by AI, agents in the AI. So what are agents and different types of agents, etc. Apart from the agents, then we'll also talk about the task environment. The task environment, what is the task environment, like the where the agent is working, and what are the properties of that task environment, and so these are the few basic things that we are going to cover in this lecture. So let's start with the most basic one, in definition of AI. So as we know that AI stands for, we already know this, artificial intelligence. So before we talk about this term artificial, let's talk about this term intelligence itself. What do you mean by this intelligence? So how do we define the intelligence first of all? So intelligence, you can think, right, where we call people intelligent, for example, right? Okay, we do assume that the people are intelligent or some animals are intelligent, or we can, but what about other things? What about, like, are trees intelligent? Or or if you talk about non-living things like a device or a computer, so how, or like a table or something, what about those? So depending upon with what we are interacting with, the term intelligence can vary, right? But in general, if we are defining the intelligence, it is simply, we can define this intelligent as a ability to think or reason about something, right? Okay. So how are we defining the intelligence? It's the ability to take the decisions or learn something, take decisions based on something, or something like that, right? So then if we use this definition, then we can say that yes, people are intelligent, at least most of us are. Humans do take, humans can learn depending upon what they see. They can take decisions given the situations and so on. So, if you are defining the intelligence in terms of the ability to think and reason about something, then what is the artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, you can think of like a created intelligence. So far that we are talking about these animals, trees, natural. So people, these are, you can think of as a natural intelligence, which was always there. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम किसी ह्यूमन के ब्रेन में या फिर किसी ह्यूमन में ब्रेन फिट कर रहे हैं, या फिर we are developing a brain, कि create a brain and then insert the brain after the birth of the human. He initially the birth of there was no brain, it was an empty cell, but after the birth we are inserting the separate brain or separated device which can take the decisions, which can make a human intelligent. That is not the case, right? So people are born with the brain, or animals do have, animals and trees also, if we talk about this, because there are situations where trees do take the decisions. We might not see it as a very subtle decisions, but You might have noticed some things where, like, some trees, when they grow, they kind of change their shape for their survival to make sure that they survive for longest period of time. So some trees or some plants, they wrap around themselves to another stronger trees or stronger wood. So that they don't get break down using the like strong wind or something. So these are kind of like you can think of these as like what you can intelligent decisions which are taken by the tree. So trees do take some intelligent decisions. So since now that we know about the intelligence, artificial intelligence is something which we have created. It's not, it was not there, but we have a human-made intelligence, you can think of. So this is like a general, by the name, this is how we define the artificial intelligence. But if we go over more theoretical perspective, how AI is defined or how what's the exact definition of AI, so there is no like a one fixed definition. Since we this term artificial intelligence, so this now different people define different intelligence in a different manner. And since if the intelligence itself is a like a very personalized for a different people, then the artificial AI itself can have the various definitions according to whom we are asking. A person who has a more mathematical knowledge can describe artificial intelligence in a more mathematical form. But if we are asking for a humanities professors or human, then they'll describe the artificial intelligence in more of a general form which can be understood by the normal people. So depending upon we are asking, the artificial intelligence term can be defined in a various ways. So because of this, there is no fixed definition of the AI. There are various definitions floating around. So in various books you might find the different definitions and so. But if we like collect all these definitions and see what are the common things are there, so then we realize that all these definitions can be categorized into four things or four different categories. So what are these four categories? So we can define AI. So if let's talk about more general way, okay, we can define AI in terms of two main categories. One is we can define in AI like a human-like situation. So, so we are defining the artificial intelligence based on the human intelligence. If we are considering the humans as an intelligent being and how they behave, how they think, based on that we are defining the artificial intelligence. Or other part we can think of is rationality. So now what is this rationality and why there is this need of keep why there is this concept of rationality itself? Because why not just define the intelligence in terms of humans perspective? Uh, since we are considering humans as intelligent, then if humans are intelligent, then any machine or any device which can take decisions just like humans can be considered intelligent. True, that is true. But now, if you see that humans do take some dumb decisions, there are you might find various examples where humans taking really, really dumb decisions. So we don't want our AI systems to do this. For example, one example of the dumb decisions that humans do is driving while being drunk. So अगर अब if we define our artificial intelligence just like humans, so अगर जो AI है which is responsible for controlling car like self-driving car, अगर उसकी intelligence was defined based on the human's behavior, then there is a high chances of the AI behaving like a human, like hitting someone and so on. We don't want that to happen. So humans are not, the decisions taken by humans are not always good. They do take bad decisions intentionally, even if they know that this decision is going to harm them in the future or current itself. But still, they do take the decisions which are not appropriate. So we don't want our artificial intelligence or AI system to be like that. So that's why we'll introduce a concept of a rationality, and we'll define our AI system based on this rationality system. Ki it should take the rational decisions or should think rationally. So this rationality is more based on the mathematical maths, or should I say logic. So this defines based on the logical way of thinking. Ki yes, whatever decision AI system is taking, it has gone through a various thinking process through which it resulted into that conclusion. Ki these were the assumptions the AI system made. This was the information that was available, and so information and assumptions, these two things led to a decision, which was the decision taken by the AI system. So we are defining this as a rational decision or rationality. So depending, since we have categorized our AI system into two parts, one human-like behavior on and rational behavior. So best, so if we go over all the definitions of artificial intelligence which are there in books, literatures, and combine them and sort all these definitions, and so we find that ki, all these definitions can be categorized into these two. And so let me show you. And so as you can see, most of the definitions of the AI system are categorized into two things: best human behavior, human-like behavior, and rational behavior. So so this involves AI definitions of AI can be categorized into overall four categories. So this is more like thinking humanly, acting humanly, and thinking rationally and acting rationally. So you can think of it like two subcategories: human-like and rational. Now it may be thinking and acting, thinking and acting. So this is this is how we can define our AI's definitions, or we can categorize our AI definitions into four separate categories. Thinking humanly. So these are the definitions which describe AI systems as which takes the or which thinks like a human. Now you might be wondering, how does human thinks? How do we know? How do we think? This is there is no. So how do we see? Like how does human mind break? Sorry, how does human mind work? So this is a hard thing. We don't know. No one has an exact idea of how human mind actually works. So this is one of the pitfalls of defining AI as a thing, which AI system is, which thinks like a human. Because even if we define a system which thinks like a human, how can we be sure that it thinks like a human? Because we don't know how humans think. We exactly don't know. We can get some approximated idea based on the brain imaging or some psychiatric tests and all this, but this will give us a rough idea, not exact idea of how humans exactly think. So kinda hard to define how humans think. So that's one of the limitations you can think of it, defining our AI system as a human thinking human. So if we don't know how humans think, but we do know how humans act, so let's define our systems which acts like humans. So, so this is where something called a Turing test comes in. So what is Turing test? Turing test is simple, a test developed by Alan Turing, which can be thought of as a father of modern computer science. He was the guy who developed the Turing machine and then proposed the fundamental idea behind the artificial intelligence by proposing the question can machine things and all. So what is this Turing test? So Turing test is very simple. So there is this a wall and behind one side of this wall is an invigilator which will ask questions. So it will ask you questions, various questions from various fields and all that. And on the other side of the wall, there is either a human or there is this machine, AI machine. So when the invigilator asks the questions, so either so if the response is coming from AI, can fool the invigilator कि this response जो AI ने इस response दिया है, this response is not from AI but it is from a human. So this invigilator doesn't know कि जो wall के दूसरी side में क्या है, whether it's a AI or whether it's a human. It will ask the questions and the other from the other side the response will be to the given by if there is a human then given by human or if there is a AI then AI. So, and based on this question, the job of this invigilator is to figure out whether उस साइड पे ह्यूमन है और एआई है. अगर there is a AI and invigilator thinks that kid no this there is this human the other side, then AI is able to pass the Turing test. But if it is not like this, if the responses are coming from AI and invigilator is also able to identify these responses are from AI, not from a human, then it fails the Turing test. So this is the concept of Turing test. So to pass a Turing test, our AI might need to understand human language. So it might need NLP systems, might act or give answers in a written form or not, something like this. So computer vision might be there or not. So you know. So the acting humanly is another part of the definition. Then there is thinking rationally. So thinking rationally is based on the logic. So this is entirely based on the logic systems that you have, like a first order logic, second order logic, propositional logic, predicate logic, all. So based on the this is like more mathematical model where key every decision taken by the AI should be derived from this logical explanation, and then only AI system should take the decision. But now that is a good, but still there are actions which are cannot be defined by logic. For example, if you touch a hot stove, your hand will or you will instinctively remove your hand, like reflexes. So reflexes are not defined by the logic. With how what are the chances of like when you touch a hot stove, then you'll stop and think for a minute, ki, why should I remove my hand? You'll go, okay, this stove is hot. If I don't remove my hand, then it will get burned. It will hurt me. So if you go over this logical thinking process, you'll realize that when you reach to the conclusion of removing your hand, the damage will be done. So not all the decisions taken by us or a system should be cannot be defined by the rational way or logical way. So, but these are a good decisions or they should be taken. So that's why we focus on the definition acting rationally. Ki it should think rationally, but even if there are some situations when a decision cannot be taken by the rational way of thinking, or if we go by the rational way of thinking, the decision might come too late and the AI system can be damaged by that. That's where this acting rationally comes in. कि ठीक है, if there is some decision जो logical way of thinking से नहीं derive हो रहा, तो and we still feel like कि this is a good decision, then let's take that decision. So this is what acting rationally means. So these are the four categories of where via this AI is defined: thinking humanly, acting humanly, thinking rationally, and acting rationally. Okay. So now that we know what AI is, let's talk about the agents in AI. What are these agents? So I'm pretty sure you must have seen the Matrix movie, right? Remember this agent Smith from Matrix? So, so this was an artificial intelligence program, which what it was. So it can take decisions, it can act upon the decisions, and so on. So agents are simply like this. AI agents are the entities which can sense the environment, which can sense the environment, what and act upon it. So what do you mean by this? If we talk about this agent Smith itself, so what was his role in the movie is he wanted to eliminate the lead character Neo. So if what he used to do, he used to surf around in the matrix to or search around in the matrix for looking for the Neo, and whenever he shows up, he is trying to like kill him, right? So this environment in which this agent was working can was the matrix itself, right? So he was working in the matrix. So what he was doing, he was taking the input from the matrix, so taking input from the matrix or sensing the matrix, so sensing or taking input and whatever. So these inputs might be like what matrix look like at correct moment, what are there abnormalities, or other things. And whenever he sees something, he acts upon the matrix, like fighting in the matrix, killing someone, or something like this. So AI agents are just like this. AI agents have two parts. You can think of AI agents as like a brain part which takes the decisions, do the computation, comes up the decisions and all it. And but then there are two things: sensors and actuators. So what are the sensors? Sensors allows the agent to take input from the environment. So sensors you can think of, अगर मैं humans के example लूँ तो humans में what are the sensors? For humans these are like eyes, our skin, ears, etc. From which we can sense कि exactly चल क्या रहा है बाहर. From eyes we can see how the surroundings look like. From ears we can hear if someone is speaking to us and all. From skin we can sense the temperature or whether it's a cold or hot. And based on whatever input we are receiving, then we can take the appropriate decisions. For example, what using the actuators for humans, actuators you can think of are hands, legs, mouth, right? So, so for example, if we sense something is someone is speaking to us, so we'll use the ears as our sensors and or even eyes also we can see their mouth moving and lips moving. So best whatever input we receive, whatever sen- our sensor has picked up, then based on that we'll take the decisions. Our mind to come up with the appropriate response, give what to say, what not to say, and all this, and then we'll speak using our mouth, right? So this is just like an AI agent. So for AI agents also have these features. Okay, for it has the sensors to take input from the environment and actuators to work upon the environment or do some task in the environment. So this environment can be environment is simply जहाँ पे agent work कर रहा है. जैसे अगर एक AI agent की मैं बात करूँ जैसे this is one AI agent is called vacuum cleaner. So this vacuum cleaner का क्या job है कि there are two rooms A and B. It needs to clean those rooms. So it has sensors to तो इसमें sensors क्या है? It has the sensor to locate the dirt. So it might have the infrared vision or some other sensors to locate where the dirt is in the room. And then actuators, if I think, give an example of actuators, it has the wheels to move around in the room, right? And then this vacuum itself to suck the dirt or clean the dirt. So these are some sensors, actuators. Okay. So based on whatever input it has taken, so this is the input part. Whatever input the AI agent takes, it will generate some output based on this or actions it will. So how based on what input, what actions to choose. This mapping is done inside this brain of agent or brain, or you can think of it as a program part of the agent, computer program, which it can, for simplest way, you can think of it like input one corresponding to output one, input two corresponds to output two, input n corresponds to output n. So you can think of it as like a sequence of one-to-one mapping key. अगर ये इनपुट आ रहा है तो ये आउटपुट करना है और ये एक्शन लेना है, ये इनपुट आ रहा है तो ये एक्शन लेना है। वन सिंपल model you can think of is a simple way of a map table which represents stores what's the input and what's the output. For example, for our vacuum cleaner we can think of it okay, कौन से रूम में है input and whether room is clean or not. So if room agent is in the room A and it is clean, so what you need to do, it can go to room B and check whether room B is clean or not. So it will go to the right side or take the decision right, move to right, move right. Now, तो अब कहाँ पे? Now there is this your vacuum cleaner. After this, so it will then अगर but room A है and that it is dirty, then what you need to do? You need to clean the room, right? Clean the room. So for example, it is in this scenario, then it will take the decision of cleaning. And so depending upon what input it receives, it will take appropriate decision. So based on this, there are various types of agents. So we know that the agent is the program part, which is like a brain, and this architecture, it can be think of it as a body of the agent. This body is made of actuators and sensors and any other things need that might be needed for agent to work. And then this is the brain or program part, computer, which does all the computation to come up with the appropriate action to take. So based on this program, how we architect, how and the architecture of the agent can be divided into four categories or four types. One is the simple reflex agent. These are as the name suggests itself, these are just simple agents which takes की क्या input है and उसके basis पे output क्या आने वाला है. They doesn't care about what happened in the past. They doesn't have any memories of the past. They don't worry about कि फ्यूचर में क्या हो सकता है, मेरे इस एक्शन का क्या consequences हो सकते हैं फ्यूचर में. Nothing at all. They'll simply check the current input and उसके basis पे they'll give a current output. So you can think of it as like a input and output mapping is stored in the brain. Input to output to input and output. तो जो भी इनपुट करंटली आया उसके बेसिस पे करंट अप्रोप्रिएट आउटपुट वो जनरेट कर देगा. इट डजंट वरी अबाउट पास्ट फ्यूचर और सो यू कैन थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक नो मेमोरी ऑफ पास्ट and no worries about the future. At it is like a person who lives in the moment. तो सिंपल रिफ्लेक्स एजेंट को आप ऐसे सोच सकते हो, इट्स लाइक ए पर्सन जो बस प्रेजेंट के बारे में उसे फर्क पड़ता है. It doesn't care about past, doesn't care about future, nothing at all. So this is the simple reflex agent. Then there are, but we don't want like, ठीक है, these are good agents, but we also want some agents which can remember what happened in the past and then take decisions or while wondering about the future consequences. So that's where we have these model-based agents. So what these model-based agents do, they do have this model which remembers the past. Keep so keep it keeps track of state of the environment कि एग्जैक्टली चल क्या रहा है एनवायरनमेंट में, भी पास्ट में क्या हुआ है, हाउ डज एनवायरनमेंट लुक लाइक एट दिस मोमेंट, देन and depending upon the model and the input then it takes the decision. So इसमें it takes the model plus current input. Based on these two things it will take the output. Then there is other called goal based agents. So goal based agents are the model agents only which also have the notion of goal कि exactly what is the task that agent is trying to do. So they introduce a notion of goal which an agent is trying to fulfill or trying to complete like a task. For example, अगर आप जैसे ड्राइविंग एजेंट की बात कर रहे हो तो what driving agent will do कि I need to reach a particular destination. For example, for driving agent reaching to particular destination, this can be considered. So now it has a purpose. Our agent has a purpose कि मुझे ये task करना है. So these are known as the goal-based agents, which has this concept of goal. Now, अभी जैसे मान लो इस ड्राइविंग एजेंट को it wants to go from one place A to place A B. For example, there is this place A and it wants to go from place A to B. So there are two paths always. There is this one straight path which goes from A to B, and there is this another path which goes from C, C to D, D to E, and E to F, and then F said it goes B. So there are two paths from A to B. One path is this, and another path is this. दोनों में technically our agent will satisfy the goal. So if our agent goes through this path, then also it will reach B, and it goes from this path, then also it will reach the B. But which one should we take, or whether are there any differences between these two paths? So of course we will want an agent which can take this path and which can reach the goal on shortest manner or in least amount of time while traveling over traveling over a shortest distance. We don't want an agent which takes a longer path. So that's where we'll define another type of agent which has something called utility based agents. Utility based agents which can do this key. You define something called performance measure which our agent will try to maximize or right ताकि it can तो गोल तक तो पहुंचना ही है but now गोल के साथ अलग कंडीशन से अटैच है कि we need to reach there in a shortest amount of time or while traveling a least distance. So we'll try our agent will try to maximize its performance. So that's where this utility based agents comes in. So there is a simple reflex agents which takes the key abhi how the world looks like. Then there is this table of input output and उसके basis पे it takes the decision. Simple, simple guys. But then there is model based agents which takes the current input, takes the current input की what's the input right now, but उसके साथ साथ it has some model. So this is a model. Based on this model, it will take the decision. Model plus input will define our action of the agent. Then there is this action of notion of goal, this notion of model, so input, and based on this the output. Then the utility based will have this utility, will try to maximize this utility. So if we talk about in terms of complexity, then there is this simple reflex agents which are simple, doesn't worry about past, doesn't worry about future, nothing at all. They simply takes current input and gives the output. Then we have the model based agents. So anything that can be done by a reflex, a simple reflex agent can also be done by model based agent, because that is much more powerful than that. This model based agent has some mathematical model to define our environment, what happened in the past, and the basis to how the environment is changing. So it will take appropriate decision based on this. Then after that we have goal based agents. So this goal based agents are also model based agent only. So model based agent is being developed on the reflex agent. Goal based agent is developed on the model based agent. Now we have defined a notion of goal. This is the task I need or agent need to fulfill. But since there can be multiple paths or multiple ways to fulfill that goal, we want something which minimizes the time taken, or if you are it's a traveling agent, then minimizes the total traveling distance. That's where then we introduced the concept of utility. Now agent will try to maximize its performance measure. This performance measure can be defined in terms of there is a taxi driving agent that was scale a maximum amount of maximum profit that can be generated, and so on. Okay. So now that we know about the agents, different type of agents, what agents are. So now let's go over a little bit about the environment in the agents are working on. So for if I talk about a simple agent, then you all know chess, right? You so let's suppose this is like a chessboard. So chess what is the agent? Agent is playing a chess. So there are two agents playing chess. So chess is one example of AI agent. Then there is another AI agent can be driving car or other. So how are these different? These are different agents which were working on a different scenarios, has different purpose, different notion of goals, and so on. So how do we describe these? Like how can we differentiate between these two agents? For example, there is this chess agent, and then there I can think of a driving agent which is driving a vehicle. So driving agent, or you might find some other agent, some other system. So how can I differentiate between these two? So that's where we define something called P's of an agent. So this stands for performance, environment, actuator, and sensor. So these four things will define an overall behavior of the agent, or like where the agent is working, what are the functionalities it has, like how it is taking inputs, how it can generate the output, and what kind of performance measure it has, which is it's trying to minimize or maximize, and so on. So to differentiate between these two agents, we define something P. So this task environment, this task environment is something where the agent is working. This So what is this piece? P stands for performance measure environment actuators and S stands for sensors. So using these four things, we can uniquely define an agent's behavior, where it's working, what are the functionalities it has, what's the task, how what is the performance measure which is trying to maximize, how it's taking input, how it's generating output, and so on. So all these details can be defined using these P's. So let's take an example of this. For example, this taxi driving agents. So, so agent type is taxi. We are talking about the taxi driving agent. So what can be the performance measure for this? So it can be like it our journey should be safe. It should be fast enough to reach on this destination on the time. It should be legal, so your taxi drivers should not break any traffic rules or anything. It should be comfortable trip. It shouldn't be like there are lots of bumps during your trip, or you driver hits someone else and so on. Like you reach the destination, or you might not reach the destination safely or not. You don't want, right? And along these ways, it also tries to maximize the profit also. So these are various performance measures it and taxi driver can help, or taxi driver agent can help. So what is the environment where this agent might be working? Roads, city roads, traffic, pedestrians, customers, so on. Right? These are the things which are defining the environment where agent needs to take decisions and taking the input and working on the. This is where the environment, right? Actuators, using which it can generate the output, steering, accelerators, brake, signal, right? And sensors, through which it can sense the environment and take appropriate decision. Cameras, speedometers, GPS, etc. Right? So there are lots of ways for a self-driving car. Taxi driving is normal, like self-driving taxi driver or a self-driving car. Okay, so with this, let's end our first lecture here. So in the first lecture, we have talked about definition of AI. Right? We talked about definition of AI. So we categorize definition into four categories: thinking humanly, acting humanly. What was these two were the when we are defining the AI in terms of human behavior. So we talk about thinking humanly might not be a good idea because we don't know how humans exactly think. We need to our human minds is a complex process which is hard to understand. We need to take some brain imaging or do some psychometric tests or something else. But that will give you some idea of how humans think, but not exactly the internal structure, internal core mechanism of how brains work. There is no way of knowing this. So it's hard. So if we don't even know how humans think, then how can we define an AI, or how can we model our AI which can think like a human? Even if we can model this, how will we even verify ki this AI is thinking like a humans? Then we acting humanly. So since ki, like we can't define and key, how humans think. Let's define our AI, or let's model our AI in terms of how humans act or behave around. So then we discuss that humans do take some dumb decisions which are not appropriate for our AIs to take, like drunken driving or anything else. So that's why we decided कि नहीं, humans के basis पे we are not defining our AI, because humans are intelligent, but they also take some dumb decisions, so which is not a good thing. So for acting humanly, we also talk about the Turing test and all. After that, we talk about thinking rationally. Then we talk about it. Let's go over a mathematical model based on the logic, and we'll define the based on the logic, we'll take our decisions. But then we talk about some actions which are like which cannot be defined by the logic, like reflexes. So that's where we talk about it. Let's, if you don't know about thinking humanly, thinking rationally, then whatever decisions you take, it should either drive from a rational way of thinking, or it should be a good decision, so that even if we can't drive it from rational way, it should still be a decision which profits our agent. So we talked about definition of AI, then we talked about agents in AI and types of the agents, types. So we talked about four types of agents: simple reflex agents, model-based agents, then goal-based agents, and utility-based agents. Then we talked about the task environment or PEAs, performance measure, environment, actuators, and such. So this is all for the first lecture. In next lecture, we'll go over or on more mathematical side how we can take an AI problem and model it in a search problem, and how can we solve that problem. So from the next class, or in the next lecture, we'll go over for more deeper dive. We'll dive into the more problem sides of AI. Now that we know about the basic concept like definitions, agents, and all, now we'll talk about how our agents work, like how this model is generated and how agent takes decisions, what are the brain, we'll talk about the brain part of the agent, what's happening in the brain of the agent. Okay, so with that, let's end the lecture here.